Broncos to victory in the #1 seed in the AFC. We asked our Twitter followers, how far can Peyton Manning take the Broncos? And the results are in. 35% of the fans say Super Bowl, 34% divisional round, and 31% AFC championship. We welcome Eric Allen to the show. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you. Happy New Year,
guys.
Year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Happy New Year, bro.
All right.
It's kind of split.
Yeah.
Like a third.
A third.
Okay.
We need you to weigh in. What do you think? Did they get it right?
Yeah,
35% saying Denver to the Super Bowl.
I think they got it right. I really do. I think this is a football team that's built for the Super Bowl. And again, I was on the other side of this a couple weeks ago as far as Peyton being the leader of this football team. I thought Brock did enough to be able to keep his spot. But again, in the situation they were yesterday, they needed those points. They needed a football team that had a little more juice. They can get to the correct play at the line of scrimmage, even if it wasn't a passing play, which you saw. I like the fact that this football team defensively probably is equal to or better than the Seattle Seahawks defensive backfield. So you got the back end doing an outstanding job. Keith Talib, Chris Harris, just one touchdown the last 2 years, which is phenomenal as a cornerback. They got a big thumper in Ward at the safety position. Hillman is really the key, I think. He's explosive enough to get to the edge and turn upfield, and he has a little more bulk because when he came out of San Diego State, he was a slight guy. I'm talking about 180, 190 or something like that. That's not the kind of guy who's going to be able to get you to the promised land in January and, of course, in February. So I think the elevation of the running game, Peyton Manning getting his team to the proper running play at the line of scrimmage and then having the opportunity at time to throw touch passes. We're not going to see Peyton Manning just thread a ball in over the middle for a great third and long. So they have to stay in third and short. Defense have to play outstanding like they have been. #1 defense in the National Football League, basically. So, again, defense and running game. We're going to go back to old school football for the champion, I think, in the Super Bowl this year. It's going to be more like a Dallas Cowboy team led by Emmitt Smith and all those great defensive players. I think the Denver Broncos have a great opportunity to be in the Super Bowl with this defense, Peyton getting to the right play, and the running game with Hillman and Anderson.
So, gut feeling at this moment, who plays the AFC Championship game at Denver?
I would go the Steelers. The Steelers are that unpredictable.
The next round.
Yeah, they're an unpredictable football team. And so you have Big Ben, you have those great receivers. Running game, little suspect with Williams getting hurt.
What he's saying is
they play the next round.
They play the next round. So if they win, and not in the AFC Championship.
So it wouldn't be before. It'd be the
and
round
I'm
before.
not Patriots, I don't think the Patriots are going to be able to get there. I think they're banged up too much. So that would put the Denver Broncos and
I think they get there because they'd have to play probably Kansas City.
Yeah, gosh. Probably
the odds are Kansas City wins at Houston, they're going to go to New England.
Yeah, probably New England because Kansas City's not going to be able to beat New England even if New England is banged up. Yeah, Foxborough.
Let me say this to both of you two. Not you, Mr. Connect.
Uh-oh.
Never you, because we're not talking about the Giants here. But let me say this to you two. I think both of y'all are a bit emotional. I think y'all getting caught up in the Destiny's run that Peyton Manning is supposed to be on. I know Denver's defense is elite. I mean, they're #1 in yards allowed.
Yeah.
They're #1 against the pass.
Yes.
They're #3 against the rush. They're #4 overall. I get it. I understand it. I saw what Pittsburgh did to them a few weeks ago, but that's neither here nor there. I understand. The question is, like I said to Skip, if you had to put your money on Denver's running game against the Steelers' passing game, who you gonna pick? I'm rolling with the Steelers. Now, obviously, Steelers got to go up against that Denver defense if that were to happen. If they were fortunate enough to beat Cincinnati, they got to go up against it. So that defense of Denver's is something special, whereas the running game would be going against the Steelers defense. I get all that too. But I guess what I'm saying is I got to think about the running game of Denver against the passing game of the Pittsburgh Steelers. See, this is why I can't get caught up. Because, see, to me, whether it's first we're going to say Peyton Manning. I didn't see enough yesterday. It was nice to see him back on the field.
Yeah, it was.
See him trotting on the field.
Right.
Why wouldn't you just make it Denver's offense versus Pittsburgh's offense? Who you got?
Because I believe that's where I'm going.
Okay.
my question, Skip, I haven't seen enough from Peyton yesterday. I saw him trot on the field. I saw him complete 5 of 9 passes for 69 yards. You said he made a couple of good throws. I said, all right, it was all right. I mean, it's all right, you know.
Checking to the right play, though.
I understand he checked the right play.
I'm scooting over here a little bit.
You always do it. Don't help you half the time, but that's a different subject for another day. All I'm saying is that I look at this, fellas, Miss Connecticut, and I just say to myself, can Peyton Manning throw outside those numbers? I got questions about that still because I want to see Brock Osweiler. I want to see him. I want to see him against it. Come on down. But no, this is going to be Peyton. I mean, and I'm like, outside the numbers.
He threw 2 balls outside the numbers. He did it on time. He had to release it way early and anticipate the break. But he got there. Both times he got there.
Under those balls, man, fluttering and all. I get it. I understand.
That's always the case.
I understand. But Peyton Manning ain't the Peyton Manning he always was.
Right.
So because of it, that's where my trepidation kicks in. So when you talk about Denver and you talk about what you foresee, I think you two both. And it's really not your fault because he tends to contaminate people like that. No. But here's the deal. I really believe in my heart what's going on here is 2 things.
Right.
Number 1, Mile High City, altitude, all that stuff. Y'all thinking about them playing in Denver.
It's hard.
And number 2, y'all a bit emotional because it's Peyton Manning and this is the swan song because we all suspect it's going to be it for him. And everybody want to see. You understand? Oh, what's Peyton Manning gonna do? Probably you too, Miss Connecticut, but I'll let it go. The point is, that's how y'all feel. See, I don't have that problem. I'm not emotional about it. I don't root against Peyton Manning. I love the guy, but the bottom line is, I don't expect but so much from him.
Okay.
Dare I say.
That's fine. He's still the same guy who wound up the season with 9 touchdowns to 17 interceptions. Yesterday, 0-0. No touchdowns, no interceptions. But yesterday, he electrified an entire stadium, an offense and a defense and special teams when he merely stepped foot on the field.
That's right. I said emotional.
Okay. All right. But they're going to be emotional, and now they're going to get on the roll just right on time.
I'm talking about you, though. I'm talking about you.
Okay. But all they need to do now is win 2 more home games. Just 2 more home games during the Super Bowl.
That's all they need to do. It's the playoffs.
Wow.
It's the playoffs. Wow.
Now I got to ask you a question. Are you sure you're not clinging to the Steelers of 3 games ago, 4 games ago, 5 games ago? Because these last 2 games, I ain't seen no Steelers. I got to tell you, they were 2 of 8 on 3rd down yesterday at Cleveland. At the Cleveland Browns.
Watch your mouth.
I'm listening to Skip right now.
Watch your mouth.
Really, 2 for 8, and early in the 4th quarter, they led all of 17-12 over the 3-13 Cleveland Browns.
What team did they lead?
The Cleveland Browns?
Okay,
The Cleveland Browns? Are you kidding me?
So now,
Austin Davis.
I think Cleveland look a little bit better than Dallas myself, but that's neither here nor there. Go ahead.
Gratuitous shot, but it's okay. That's all you got. That's all you got.
Go ahead.
Okay, so are you sure that team that 2 games ago just stunk it up at the Ravens against what's left of the Baltimore Ravens? Is that your team that's going to...
Division rivalry.
Okay.
I mean, these things happen.
Okay.
What's the Ravens record?
Exactly.
I lost touch because they lost touch.
Steve Smith Sr. gone, quarterback gone.
Wait, they lost. Wait a second.
You might be emotional.
The Steelers lost to Ryan Mallett in his first start for the Baltimore Ravens? Really? That guy?
That's what you're going with?
Wow.
And that's what you're going with?
I didn't expect you to bring that up. But there's a logical explanation for that. There's a logical explanation.
Talk your way out.
Tail end of the season, they thought they had it in the bag.
They didn't think they had it in the bag. They thought they were out of the playoffs.
No, I'm talking about the loss to the Ravens initially. You understand? Slept a little bit, and then they went, they made a mistake, paid for it because they put themselves in a precarious spot entering yesterday's game. Now, they knew Davis was there, Johnny Manziel wasn't quarterback, and there's no Josh McCown or anybody like that. They knew they were going to handle their business against Cleveland with all that dysfunctionality sifting through that franchise. I mean, please, the GM and the coach is appropriately gone. The owner should fire himself. Everything would be fine. But the reality of the situation is you knew that. So what? It took them a couple of quarters to get their bearings under them and handle their business. In the end, they did what they had to do. Mid-bag of shells. It's no big deal. It's no big deal.
Okay, now I'm going to turn the cannon around and face it, because The team I picked to win the Super Bowl, the New England Patriots, are no longer the New England Patriots. And I'm the first to admit it. They lost 4 of their last 6. It's a bad sign at this point in this season when you are so beat. You're ravaged by injuries.
Right.
And if Edelman can't come back, and I remind you, it's the Jones fracture, the same thing Kevin Durant had, that Des Bryant has. Now Des Bryant needs another procedure, just as Kevin needed two more procedures to get right. Are you sure? Yeah. Are you sure that Edelman's going to be able to contribute? And by the way, I think they deserve one quick mention on today's First Take. If Kansas City is a 3-point favorite, goes to Houston and wins, they've won 10 straight games. Let's say they go to Foxborough at 11 straight that they've won. And I'm looking at, I look down the wins, they did beat the Steelers.
Yep.
They won at Denver.
With Landry Jones quarterbacking. No, Big Ben didn't throw that game.
Okay, but whatever. I mean, they won at San Diego, they won at Buffalo. They didn't just beat a bunch of nobodies here.
And they can match up with anybody in the league as far as receivers concerned.
Well, not only that,
the Peters kid is amazing.
Eric Berry, phenomenal job.
Yeah.
The point is their defense filled with playmakers. Kansas City deserves our respect, not to be ignored. But I do think we need to pay attention to the kind of house money that New England could potentially be playing with, because minimal expectations, because we know they're decimated by injuries. So you've got that. You got 2 weeks for Bill Belichick to prepare. That combined with Gronkowski being on the field, Amendola possibly being back, Edelman probably being back.
Well, will he be? I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm saying we don't know. That's my point.
All right.
We don't know.
Is Belichick a faith healer now? Can he do you two shall be healed?
Are you getting emotional right now?
No. The way they talk about Belichick, we don't know. The way they talk about him.
All right.
We don't know.
So Stephen A., the only one not emotional yet, he might be 8:15 Eastern, Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. The other, stop giving me side eye, AFC wildcard, Kansas City at Houston.
Nobody bring up her Giants yet. That much.
Eric, thank you so much.
They're her Giants now. So they're no longer her Giants.
If they won,
the Redskins won the NFC.
The Cards, Desert Swarm, the Red Hot Seahawks on Sunday.
You said the Eagles, then you said the...
We're going to bump. We'll see.